Welcome to the Agent Workforce podcast. This is episode 17. I am Kristiina and I lead marketing at Digital Workforce. And with me is my co-host, the most amazing Niko Lehtonen, AI solution architect at Digital Workforce. Happy September, Niko.
Happy September. Somehow the summer is officially gone, although the temperatures are still quite nice. So I'm satisfied for now.
In today's episode, we'll talk about Google's Nano Banana release, some of the most popular consumer GenAI apps out there as of this moment, and Stanford study, and of course, Microsoft, among others. So let's start off with the Google Nano Banana. Nano Banana was launched last week on August 26th, and that's Google's new image model, also known as Gemini 2.5 Flash Image. And it's described as the best image model to ever exist. Last time we talked about image models in details, that was in March 2025 when ChatGPT's new AI image generator came out, and that was described as the Studio Ghibli moment of the world. And we had tried that and how did it perform in different character consistency and so forth. But what Google has put out now is quite mind-blowing. And it is what is really descriptive here is that it keeps characters consistency in a way that we have not seen before. And the ability for you to change scenes and edit specific parts with just describing with full control using plain language, that is just amazing. So some have said that this will have an effect what comes to Photoshop, which is the pro program for editing photos and images, and with pretty much text prompting, you can give instructions to your Nano Banana model of Google to edit the images. And I have played around with this as well, and is also noted for its speed affordability with an image generation cost of approximately 4 cents, making 1,000 images around $40. So that is not so expensive as it had used to be. And that you can interact with Nano Banana for free on Google AI Studio, which is a platform for developers, AI builders. We have referenced to AI Studio multiple times in this podcast. But you can also see Nano Banana on Google Gemini if you use that application, and you can choose the model with that carries a banana emoji on Google Gemini. So in last episode, we talked about world models, and Nano Banana is also noted for possessing significant world knowledge. So when you enter to images and ask to combine, it just sort of knows what to do and how to place the image over the another. So that's something to noteworthy. And it also creates this watermark automatically that the image has been generated using AI. So let me just quickly share my screen for those who are watching this on YouTube side. So this is Google AI Studio. And actually here, there's a section called Build. If you enter Google AI Studio on the left-hand side, there's Build. And there are some pre-built vibe-coded apps that you can play around with and enter your images and see what people have built using Nano Banana new model. And this is for just an example. I'm showing an example of myself. So I added a photo here, and it's one of these pre-built vibe-coded apps for fun. So it just generates an image of me in different decades. And that's quite nice. And those of you who know me, so at least I'm happy with the character consistency. So I recognize myself from these images, which was not the case before. So yeah, this is for Nano Banana from my side. Have you, Niko, tried this already?
I haven't. Another podcast was talking about this, but I've not tried it yet. What I think is interesting, I mean, my Photoshop days are from back when Adobe still had a one-off license fee you paid for that version. So I haven't used it when it's been a monthly subscription type of product or service. But I would imagine that if they haven't been paying attention to just how these things are evolving, they're going to see a dip in the users very soon. Especially if it's so cheap to do these images. So if you're not using it day in, day out, then this might be a much better option than paying what is it, like $300 per year or something. I guess there's multiple tiers as well. Very different. Yeah.
Yes, that's the case. So, okay, while we still talk about Google, let's switch over to Andreessen Horowitz. So they are Silicon-based venture cap firm, quite well known in the world, and they have announced released the fifth edition of their top 100 GenAI consumer apps. So by web products and also mobile products. And you can find this on Andreessen Horowitz website. You can just search for 100 GenAI apps and fifth edition. I'm again sharing my screen. So for those who can see this, let's talk about some of the top 50 applications here. What is noteworthy here is that we can see Google products in the top 13. There are 3 Google products. So there's Gemini in number 2 position behind ChatGPT, which upholds the number 1 position. And then we can see Google AI Studio, which I was just showing you a moment ago. That's in position 10. And then on 13, we have Google Notebook LM, which we have referred to multiple times as well here. So Niko, any reflections on top 50 GenAI web products?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a couple of things. Top 7 contains all the top 6 LLM model providers: ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, Perplexity, and Claude. So that's very much expected. The only thing that breaks that is Character.ai, which is a more specific product or service. But we see lots of things that have been in the news. There's Suno, there's Manus. Cursor is obviously there, Lovable is there. Although I am surprised that Lovable is higher than Cursor. I would have thought it's the other way around. But then again, since Lovable is more for the sort of front end, I guess that makes sense that it's higher up.
And this is divided into, like I said, 2 main categories. So top 50 AI web products, and that's determined by unique monthly visits. And then top 50 AI mobile apps, which is determined by monthly active users. And Andreessen Horowitz, they state that it's noteworthy maybe that only 11 new names appearing on the web rankings compared to what they announced in the previous edition. That they had 17 in the previous edition. And top performance ChatGPT, like I said, continues to hold the top spot, both on the web and the mobile lists. And like we discussed already, Google's presence is quite strong. But you can dive deeper into the data here by just scrolling and look into like how the Google different tools or services are performing and so forth. So you can find this on Andreessen Horowitz. All right. And let's move on to some other study that has made some waves in the past week or so. And that is from Stanford University. This is about recent Stanford study has provided what they claim is the clearest evidence yet that AI is reshaping the labor market. And the researchers used payroll data from ADP, which is one of the largest payroll service provider in the US, to track employment patterns from late 2022, so following the launch of ChatGPT, through mid-2025. So they're using actual payroll data to back up this study. And what they have identified some exposures to Gen AI changes, and in particular customer service and software development. Some key findings from the study are that there is impact on particularly young workers. So the study found that jobs for workers aged 2022 to 2025 fell by 16% in the exposed industries. So we are seeing some AI replacing entry-level work in the context of certain roles based on this data. Wages unaffected so far, and they have also tried to control over some other factors like COVID and things like that, if those make an impact here. But some quite like strong data here backing up that we're indeed seeing some changes. I'm going to show you this. This is from the actual study, and this is page 10, where you can see the headcount over time by age groups for software developers, taking a dip starting 2022 And same for like customer service. We're seeing some impact also in marketing and sales manager roles, although like picking up again now in 2024, 2025. Niko, your thoughts on this study?
If you scroll a bit back up, so you can see the
Yeah.
developers and versus the customer
Yes.
service. Again, it's not all going to be because of ChatGPT and LLMs in general, but this dip very much is associated with that, and for a reason. And you can see that the early career or junior software developer graph starts to go down very quickly, very much at the time when ChatGPT 3 came out. And in customer service, it starts to dip a bit after, because it took a while before those solutions started coming out. People started having ideas on where to use this. And I think one reason why the dip hasn't been as big as it has for customer service as it has been for software developers is because you cannot replace your whole customer service with that. You're going to need to have even juniors there checking things and so on. Whereas very likely organizations have found ways of just focusing their development effort, development headcount on those who already know what they're doing and are using code and as they nowadays say, agentic coding to handle the stuff that was juniors' work before. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what this looked like from 2019 to 2021. So we don't see if there's been any decline at that point, or has it always been a rising graph. But yeah, I think the trend is very clear, but it's been like for the past 3 years now because of GenAI and what it's brought.
Yeah, and considering the labor market situation in the US, where there's like almost like full employment currently, so this is like good space to maybe investigate this currently. Whereas in some of the other countries, like in Finland, we have other major factors in the job employment markets currently. But yeah, something to keep an eye on for sure. Let's move on to Microsoft. Last time we talked about Microsoft Copilot having GPT-5. We have a lot of updates from the Microsoft side. Niko, you have been probably using Copilot lately. I have, but you tell your experiences first.
Yeah. I mean, like I already said in the last episode, GPT-5 coming into that has really changed Copilot, and especially the analyst and researcher agent that you can
Yes.
use within Copilot, because those automatically use the thinking version. It's quite clear when you ask it to do anything. The thing is, within Copilot, you cannot choose the model you're using. So you don't, if you're just using the chat option, you don't know which version of GPT-5, what is the router agent going to pick for your task. But when you use the agents, you get the thinking version, or it might even be the GPT-5 high, not sure, but the quality is clear. It's really going to change things. And I've been speaking about this in a couple of things now already. I was teaching students about this last week, just a one-off lecture on prompt engineering, and I showed these agents, and it really opens your eyes on what you can do that you haven't been able to do before, unless you had a paid account, and a lot of those students haven't had paid accounts, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is really opening up the world for many for whom it hasn't been available before.
It's super important considering what we just discussed earlier as well about the entry-level jobs for students to keep up to date what's happening and have access to the latest tools and trial themselves if schools are not providing access. So that's really good that you're doing this education there. I have also played around with Copilot agents and the analyst in particular. I have two recent use cases where it performed extremely well. So there was one prospect that I wanted to look into all the internal files and conversations we have had about this prospect over the years, and it put together like a really accurate report of the different like conversation points and things we have known about this prospect over the years, and that really helps us in moving forward in the conversations. And the other use case is something, an internal quite big project we did like 7 years ago, and that took like 8 months the project internal, and now we're redoing some parts of that. And I just wanted to look back at what did we actually do back then, and what kind of elements that project included, and what were the outcomes of the projects and so forth. And so I asked the analyst to do this, and it gave me a super accurate, like five-page analysis of the whole thing, and it was like spot on, just using internal sources. I prompted it to give me an overview of what we did back then, and that was it, using internal sources only, and of course with access to files that I'm entitled to have access to.
Yeah, I guess I should say let's enjoy it while it lasts. 'Cause
Yes.
on the other side of Microsoft news, they literally just 2 days ago, I think, put out an article on their AI side where Microsoft announced their own models, one for voice and one for text. They're called MAI, as in Microsoft AI. I wonder if they're going to make a Thai version of that. But the thing is, they are saying that the text version is going to be used in some parts of Copilot soon. But at the moment, the only way to use that model is to test it within LM Arena. And we've discussed LM Arena, that must have been months ago, maybe in April or May. But it's the website where you can put two LLMs against each other, you give it a prompt, and you can compare the results. So that's the only place where the MAI preview is available right now. But going forward, Microsoft is indeed going to put that to the heart of Copilot. Whether that's going to be in the agents, not sure yet. But based on LM Arena's charts, it's not that impressive if you compare to GPT-5 or GPT-4o. Because GPT-5 is number one on the LM Arena charts when it comes to text-based stuff. Another version of GPT-5 was at number 7. 4o is there as well within the top 10 or 12 or something. But my preview is at number 15. So at the moment, at least, it's not going to be better than what Copilot has to offer. So let's see what this does and when is these changes going to happen. But I think it probably is an indication that Microsoft is looking for a way to do this without OpenAI. How is that going to work in the future? Are they going to be good enough without OpenAI? Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. But definitely a bold move from Microsoft, or maybe a necessary move from Microsoft to introduce their own foundation models and take it from there. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I should add, since it's only available on LM Arena, there's no indication of what the costs to use it are. So as soon as it hits the Azure AI Foundry, then we can have a price comparison as well between the other models. I would expect that Microsoft's own model should be a lot cheaper to use than models coming from elsewhere. But let's see. We'll talk about it as soon as we have the information.
Thank you, Niko. Anything else you want to share with us today?
Yeah. I go to this event in Finland called AI After Work, and Kristiina, you've been going there as well a few times at least. And I just got the invite to the next one, and the agenda is quite interesting. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but one of the topics is that lack of AI skills is a bottleneck for success. And this is very clear day in, day out when you talk to customers, when you look at how organizations are doing in general. And almost coinciding with this very much too well was an article on the Hacker News. Not Hacker News, which is the Y Combinator owned website, but the Hacker News, which is more of a security-minded. And there's an article for CISOs, or Chief Information Security Officers, about the safe adoption of AI. Five steps on how to do that. And I'm not going to go through that in detail either. Go check it out if you want. But the point of the article is to say that you can't stop AI from being adopted in your organization, but you need to figure out a way to do it in a structured manner and so that it's compliant with your AI policy and so on. But if the policy is too strict, then people are going to find other ways of using AI and go around the policy, which is not great. So the key point that's in the very last sentences there is that if somebody wants to use AI for something, you shouldn't say no. You should say yes, but here's how. So trying to find a way or having an answer to what can we do to facilitate this rather than saying there's absolutely no way this is ever going to happen. And I think just an indication that it's a global problem
Yes.
for many
Yes.
organizations around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly so. And there's a big risk that you will fall behind. But of course you need to have safe ways to trial and use that and monitor the use and have the human in the loop. Like we have discussed many times, that's a crucial point with the current models. So you can't fully rely on outcomes yet. But yeah, that's very true. Thought I'll share something maybe nice to know here to wrap up our episode this time. We have talked about AgentAcademy multiple times here in the show. That's you can go and check the courses yourself. There's one free course called Understanding Agentic AI, and that really picked up more speed during the summer, where we like tripled the number of people registering for the Understanding Agentic AI course. And to date, we have had over, I haven't checked the numbers today, but I guess over 3,700 or something like that registrations. And I added a mandatory field to the registration form, maybe sometime in the spring. So that's something I highly recommend as a hack for anyone who use registration forms, that if you want to collect information, what is the source? How do people find out about your thing, your content or course or whatever? Just include that one field into the form. And here are the results. So how are people finding out about our courses, our Understanding Agentic AI course, which is the most popular, and also the other AgentAcademy courses. And I'm showing data here in the screen, but for those who can't see, so Google search is still dominant. And how I did the analysis, of course, I did that with AI and it did that instantly. So I just included all the responses to that one particular form field, and it gave me a perfect analysis. There are different ways how, because that's like free form, so you can use how to describe how did you find out about us, and so there are different kinds of answers. So the AI tool did the analysis on my behalf, and it was really accurate. So Google search still stand out as the biggest source for us. And then there's second category, which is like online internet generic. So this will pretty much go into the Google/search bar, I would say. But then the big ones are, the third biggest is ChatGPT/AI search. And that's the third biggest before LinkedIn, which is fourth. And then when you see like the other categories, there are friends, colleagues, word of mouth, social media, and then Perplexity and other AI tools, which I would personally combine with ChatGPT/AI searches. But some like maybe points to raise here is that AI-driven discovery is growing really fast. So ChatGPT is already the third largest source, and Perplexity is also notable. And yeah, I think that's like, we have discussed that here as well, that how search is changing and how we're now seeing the AI overviews in Europe as well and in Finland. But what we're not seeing here yet is the AI mode, and that's like quite dominant in other countries than European Union. I think they have launched that to, Google has launched that to 180 countries or so. So really looking forward to having that in place. But this is also extremely important for brands and companies to influence how they become visible and picked up in these Gen AI searches. And there are ways to influence that, and you need to really follow that space as well if you are working in the marketing department. But yeah, that's any
So
yeah.
it's about maybe 15% of all the searches or the people finding us is through an AI type of search. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this looks like in a year. Who's going to use Google at that point, and so on.
Yeah, and I need to say that I have maybe used more of Google now because of the AI overview. So I think it's quite fast to pick that up in some cases. So I really look forward to having the real AI mode available in Europe as well. So people are saying that's quite useful. So of course, Google is working hard as well to make their star products to be the go-to products in people doing searches. So I think we're definitely going to see more evolvement there as well what comes to Google searches. And what would you say, Niko, from your searches when you go to Google, how much of those percentage-wise are now AI overviews?
if you mean when I get information I actually can use, I'm going to say maybe 5%. 'Cause I can't trust it. That's the problem. I need to go further just to find an actual article about something, because the overview has, so often I can already see that it's doing something that I wasn't even asking about.
Mhm.
So even if it looks like it's on point, I still can't trust it because it's so often missing the mark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I'd say that from the searches I do on Google now, maybe 60% or 70% end up being like AI overviews as the first before like any blue links and things like that. And oftentimes, not always, I can like move on from there. So I don't need to scroll down to the blue links, but I will check the data points where it's coming from. So that's for sure evolving. I just saw a study how people are like searching different things on Google/Gen AI searches. So we might discuss that in some of the future episodes. So I will dig into that study and share you some of the key findings from there in the future. All right. Is that a wrap? Anything else to share? Is that a wrap?
I think that's a wrap for now. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Niko, again for your thoughts and input. And thanks everyone for listening in. And we look forward to speaking with you soon again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.